Stop placing your ice near the window tonight. That window is fighting your ice, and the window always wins. Even through closed glass, even through curtains, radiant heat energy passes directly through window panes and strikes anything sitting near them, including a bowl of ice you were counting on to cool the room. Glass is a poor insulator against radiant heat, meaning your window is quietly working against every ounce of cooling you're trying to create. There is a specific spot on your floor that does the opposite. It uses real, documented physics that has nothing to do with the window at all. A building science principle called thermal stratification explains exactly why this spot works, and it has been understood by engineers for over a century. Welcome to Vault Breaker, where we open every vault that billion-dollar industries paid to lock shut. Subscribe and ring the bell right now, because where you place your ice tonight determines whether it is still cooling your room by morning or wasted by midnight. Here is why the window destroys your ice so quickly. Sunlight and ambient heat energy travel as radiant infrared radiation, and a significant portion of that radiant energy passes directly through standard window glass rather than being blocked by it. This is true even on a shaded or curtained window, since curtains block visible light and some radiant heat, but allow a meaningful amount of radiant energy to still pass through to anything positioned close to the glass surface. A bowl of ice placed near a window is therefore absorbing constant radiant heat input from that window, in addition to whatever ambient room temperature it is already fighting against. This dramatically accelerates melting and reduces the total cooling benefit you get from that ice, often cutting its useful cooling duration by half or more compared to identical ice placed in a location shielded from radiant heat sources. Now here is the real physics behind why floor level matters so much. And it has nothing to do with corners specifically, but with basic thermal behavior that applies to your entire floor. Warm air is less dense than cool air, which means warm air naturally rises and cool air naturally sinks and pools at the lowest available point in any room. This creates what building scientists call thermal stratification, a measurable layering of temperature from floor to ceiling that exists in essentially every room, with the coolest air consistently found near the floor and the warmest air consistently found near the ceiling. In a typical bedroom during summer, the temperature difference between floor-level air and ceiling-level air can measure anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, simply due to this natural density-driven layering. This means the exact same bowl of ice, placed at floor level rather than on a table, nightstand, or windowsill, is already sitting in measurably cooler ambient air before it even begins working, giving it a meaningful head start compared to ice placed at any elevated surface in the room. Here's exactly where and how to place your ice tonight for the best result. Choose a floor location that is away from any window, away from any direct heat source such as a lamp, television, or electronic device, and away from high-foot traffic areas where people walking past will disturb the air around it repeatedly. A floor spot along an interior wall, meaning a wall that is shared with another room inside your home rather than an exterior wall facing outdoors, tends to run slightly cooler than a spot along an exterior wall, since exterior walls absorb and re-radiate some heat from outdoor conditions throughout the day. I want to correct something important here, because getting this detail right actually matters for how well this works. While a sheltered floor location away from disturbance is genuinely beneficial, completely stagnant air directly around the ice bowl is not actually ideal, because as the ice cools the immediate air around it, that cooled air needs to move outward into the room to provide any cooling benefit to you, rather than simply sitting saturated and unmoving right at the ice's surface. The correct approach combines the real benefit of floor-level placement away from window heat with gentle air movement to actually distribute that cooled air into the room where you can feel it. Place your ice bowl or bucket at floor level in your chosen sheltered spot and position a small fan nearby, angled to pass air across the surface of the ice before directing that now cooled air toward where you sit or sleep. This combination gives you the full benefit of the physics involved: cooler starting air temperature at floor level, protection from radiant window heat, and active circulation that actually delivers the cooling effect to you rather than letting it sit unused around the bowl itself. Adding a few tablespoons of salt to the ice, as covered in an earlier vault in this series, further extends the cooling duration by lowering the effective temperature and accelerating the rate of cold air production from the melting process. Within the first 30 minutes of this correctly configured setup, floor-level placement shielded from window heat, combined with directed airflow, you will typically notice a distinctly stronger and longer-lasting cooling effect compared to the same ice bowl placed near a window or on an elevated surface. I want to be completely honest about what actually makes the difference here and what does not. The window avoidance and floor-level placement are both genuinely significant factors, backed by real, well-documented physics, radiant heat transfer through glass and thermal stratification, respectively. Whether you choose one specific corner of the room over another specific floor location generally matters far less than simply avoiding windows, avoiding heat sources, and ensuring some gentle airflow moves the cooled air outward rather than letting it sit stagnant. Any sheltered floor spot away from windows and heat sources will perform similarly well, and the meaningful choice is floor versus window or elevated surface, not one particular corner versus another. A woman in Phoenix, Arizona, documented comparing ice bowl placement on consecutive nights during a July heat wave in 2023, placing an identical 5-pound bag of ice near her bedroom window on one night, and at floor level along an interior wall, paired with a small fan on the following night. On the window side night, her ice bowl was fully melted and providing no further cooling benefit within approximately 2 hours, and her room temperature reading showed minimal improvement over that period. On the floor level, fan-assisted night, her ice bowl remained providing measurable cooling for over 4 hours, roughly double the useful duration, and her room temperature dropped further and stayed lower for a meaningfully longer stretch of the night. The window did exactly what radiant heat transfer predicts it will do, working directly against her cooling efforts the entire time. The floor level placement, combined with real airflow, did exactly what thermal stratification and basic fluid movement predict it will do, extending and delivering the cooling benefit throughout the room. Thermal stratification has been documented and taught in building science for over a century. Radiant heat transfer through window glass is basic, well-understood physics used daily in energy efficiency calculations. Neither of these principles requires anything mysterious. They simply require you to stop placing your ice in the one spot working against you and start placing it in the spot that is genuinely, measurably cooler. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe and share it with someone who has been placing their ice near a window without realizing it was fighting them the entire time. Every share puts real documented physics in the hands of someone who has been losing a battle they never knew they were fighting. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside it has been hidden even longer than this one has.